Hello, welcome to Tri-Power Environmental Energy. In this brief tutorial, I will show you how to operate the Rotex RoCon room control unit. This is a unit that will control the boiler, your GCU boiler series, remotely. So this controller will be in your hallway, your living room, maybe you have one on the ground floor, one on the first floor. But all these controllers are linked back to the boiler. So most of the settings you can set from one controller, which will adjust all the controllers, or you can set them individually. In this video, I will show you a brief description of each of the functions as they display. This is your top button that will provide the functions. This bottom button with an enter button in the middle will allow you to adjust whatever you set here. This is an exit and a home button, which is like a return button on a computer. It will also do different functions. On this display, you have on the left hand side, on this display at the moment, you have 19.6, which is your heating temperature. This is the air temperature, not the water temperature. It says here this moon means that it's on setback. The clock says 1, which means you're on time program 1. You have 2 time programs with this boiler. It means that you can set these and switch between them, so that you don't have to reprogram everything all of the time. You can switch between the two. For instance, when you're working or when you're on holiday, you can switch between these functions. This house symbol with the temperature gauge outside indicates that it's 16.4 degrees outside because the boiler can see the outside temperature. And this is the temperature inside the boiler. So it's 47.6 degrees and it's on standby. Above is the time. This is what section it's on as far as what the system is actually reading or what this unit is reading. And this is the date. On the right hand side you have information. You have your modes. So if I switch to mode, at present we're on automatic 1. I can jog through these so you see that I'm highlighting the different boxes. And I can select any of these by pressing the center button. But at the moment we will leave it on automatic 1. The next one is your heating set point. So this is your set day temperature. So you have 3. Again, I can scroll through these 3. So in each day you have 3 time zones or time settings. You can have morning, afternoon or evening, or you can just have all day, whatever you decide. So if you're just using set point 1, you can set the temperature and the time settings, but in this section here you would just set the temperature for that particular time setting. So at the moment if I go into this, press enter, you'll see that we have set this at 19 degrees. This could be set at 20, 21 degrees, whatever you feel comfortable with. But obviously the lower the setting, the more energy efficient the system will be. But it all depends on the house or the building that it's attached to. Once you want to accept the temperature, press enter. You'll see a tick on the screen and that's it set. You can then go to the next one, do exactly the same thing, adjust, whatever you like to do, press enter, and that saves it. On the next one, you have a setback, reduced and absence. Again, if we press reduced, this is a temperature that we tell the system that when it's outside of a time clock period, don't let the house or the building drop below 16 degrees. Once it drops below that, or if it does, the boiler will automatically kick in and bring it back up to temperature. The absence is basically the same thing, but say when you're on a holiday or you're in standby mode, that the house drops too much of temperature. The next is your domestic hot water, which is very similar to the heating time settings or temperature settings. Again, you've set point 1, 2 and 3. So you can set these depending on the time of day that you want the hot water at a certain temperature. So if I go to set point 1, press enter, we have this set at 60. You can set that back to 55, 54, but we would recommend usually having this at 60. Again, pressing the middle button, that sets that program. We can set this then, set point 2. We can say we leave the house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and if you have solar attached, you want this drop down to lower temperature, so that the boiler basically ignores producing hot water and lets the solar collect as much water as possible. Set point 3, then we can say, okay, in the evening time, we're not going to get any solar after, say, 5 o'clock, because it depends on the profile of the roof, etc. And bring the temperature back up to, say, 60 degrees. The beauty about this is that if the boiler has collected solar and it's up past that temperature, even though you have programmed the system to be on, the boiler will look at the temperature inside the cylinder, whether it's a 300 or a 500 litre cylinder, and actually ignore the settings because the temperature is already inside the boiler. If it happens to drop below that because you're using hot water, during the time clock period, it will bring it back up again for you. On this one here, you have hot water reheating. So you have one-time hot water and the domestic hot water reload time. In other words, the amount of time that you want the boiler just to concentrate on domestic hot water and ignore the heating. So if we want to go into this, we go to domestic hot water reload time. We can select between 0 minutes up to 240 minutes. So we can use the jog wheel again. So if I select 20 minutes, press enter. And then I can go one-time hot water, press enter, turn that on. And then what will happen if I go up to the information button, which is your main screen, you will now see the sun symbol beside the hot water, which means that the boiler now is concentrating on building the hot water to the preset temperature of 60 degrees, which we had set here in this one. If I want to switch that off, I go to the reload time, switch this back to 0, and I like to turn this off because that just makes sure. And what you will see after a certain amount of minutes, it's usually 3 to 4 minutes, this will go to a moon symbol, which means the standby. And this one, we've set it slightly shorter because for this demonstration. This button here is your time programs. So you have party, away, vacation, holiday, program 1, program 2, which is your heating programs, HC is a heating program, and domestic hot water program 1 and 2. You have the circulation time, which is your domestic hot water pump. If I go into heating program 1, you will see the times that everything is set, and you can interrogate each individual day, but I'll not do this in this video. If I go to the spanner, this allows for configurations, different setup menus that the user can control. And if I go to this, this allows this controller to see all the other controllers in the building. So at the moment, no selection is highlighted, but you will see the tick beside the control BM1, which is the boiler. Mixing valve 1, on this particular instance, happens to be the first floor circuit. So if I wanted to see what was happening in the first floor circuit or adjust times and temperatures, I would select that, go up to the information button, and now you see a different screen where it's reading the water temperature going through the system upstairs, and it's reading the outside temperature. And you will see the standby. Standby means that the upstairs circuit is not programmed to be on at this time, so it's on standby. So even though the ground floor circuit is on, the up floor circuit has told the boiler that it doesn't want to be on, so that's why that symbol is there. And again, the information button gives you a general overview of the screen.